Hi, Michelle here. If you've been in the Hoya hobby for more than, say, 5 minutes, you know that these plants are picky. They're not like your typical pothos or philodendron. In the wild, most Hoyas are epiphytes. They live on trees. Their roots are used to breathing air, getting drenched by tropical rain, and then drying out almost immediately. They're not sitting in dirt. They're nestled in pockets of air, moss, and decaying bark. But most store-bought mixes, they're designed to hold water. For a Hoya, that's a death sentence. When soil stays wet for 7 to 10 days, the oxygen is cut off, the roots suffocate, and it leads to the one thing we all fear, root rot. You don't realize it's happening until the leaves get soft, and by then it's often too late. Today we're going on a deep dive. I'm going to show you how to design your own ultimate Hoya chunky mix. We're breaking down the science of the ingredients, we're talking about the exact costs, and we're saying why making this yourself is actually going to save you a fortune compared to those ultimate premium bags online. If you like today's video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. That lets the word get out to the plant YouTube universe that my channel exists and that I'm out here releasing videos about Hoyas and their care every week. If you'd like to help out the channel further, please consider subscribing to my channel. With your help, I just passed my year-long goal to make it to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm so grateful to all of you. If you'd like to contribute to this particular video, please consider adding a comment to the comment section below. I do read and respond to all of the comments on my videos, so I will get back to you. Please be patient with me, as it may take me a day or two to get back to you, but I promise I will. And now, on to the video. Before we look at the ingredients, we have to understand the why. Hoya roots have evolved to be opportunistic. They want to grab moisture quickly and then have access to oxygen. In a dense soil, the pore space is filled with water. In our chunky mix, we are creating macropores, large gaps where air can circulate even right after you water. This air triggers the roots to grow faster and stronger. If you've ever wondered why your Hoya hasn't put out a new leaf in 6 months, I'd bet money the substrate is too dense. It's not sleeping, it's struggling to breathe. Now let's look at the lineup. We need to understand why these 5 ingredients work together like a perfect team. The first item is Orchiata bark. This is the skeleton of your mix. Now I know what you're thinking. Michelle, I can get bark for $10 at the hardware store. Orchiata is not regular orchid bark. It's aged New England Pinus radiata. It's hard, it's pH balanced, and it doesn't turn into mush. When you pay $90 for a bag, you're paying for longevity. This bark is designed to stay structured for 3 to 5 years. Regular bark starts to rot in 12 months, and when it rots, it kills your root. Tree fern fiber. Now the second ingredient is the secret sauce. If you haven't used this yet, it can be a game changer. It's airy, but it holds moisture better than almost anything else without becoming mushy. It's practically like natural Velcro for Hoya roots. They love to wrap around those fibers. It's especially great for those finer rooted Hoyas like Hoya caudata that need a bit more humidity. The third item is coco coir chips. Think of these as little sponges. They absorb water and release it slowly. Unlike peat moss, cocoa chips don't compact or become hydrophobic where the water just rolls off. They keep the mix chunky while giving the plant a consistent drink of water. The fourth ingredient is perlite number 3 coarse. Now, not all perlite is created equal. That dusty, tiny stuff at the big box store, forget it. We want number 3 coarse. Now look at the size of these. They range in size from peas to marbles. That creates massive air pockets so the roots can literally breathe underground. And the fifth ingredient is sphagnum moss. Finally, the moss. We're only using a tiny bit, about 5%. I personally chop mine up. It acts as a moisture insurance policy. If you go on vacation or forget to water for an extra couple of days, this moss can keep the internal humidity of the pot just high enough to prevent the roots from drying all the way out. Now, the most important factor has got to be the cost breakdown between DIY and pre-made mixes. Take a good look at this cost breakdown as we talk cold hard money for a bit. I know seeing a total of $216.85 for an Amazon shopping list is scary. It's a big initial investment. There's no way of getting around that. But let's look closer at the math, because this is where you realize how much the online shops are really marking things up. When we mix this ourselves, a 10-liter batch costs you about $19, which makes a per gallon cost about $8. Now go look online. An average premium Hoya mix usually sells for between $20 to $35 per gallon, plus shipping. By buying bulk, you are saving over $360 in total, or a savings percentage of about 62%. Essentially, after your third batch of soil, your supplies have paid for themselves, and everything after that is pure savings. But you may be asking yourself, how much does a 10-liter batch actually look like in practice? Let's talk Hoya potting capacity. One single 10-liter batch of this mix is going to go a long way. You can expect to fill roughly 33-inch pots, or about 15 standard 4-inch pots. If you're moving up to larger specimens, you'll get about 9 of the 5-inch tapered pots you'll see me measure with for my Hoya mix. And for your really large Hoya repottings, one batch will comfortably fill 5 large 6-inch pots. It's the perfect amount to tackle a weekend potting session without having a massive surplus taking up space in your garage. Okay, welcome to my potting bench outside. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of the mixing out here. Now, I know we just did a deep dive into the cost, but now we need to know about how much of each ingredient we actually need to add to the mix. So here is my container that I'm going to be mixing in, and it's going to fill it about, I don't know, maybe a third to a half of the way up. I don't have any smaller containers. Now, this is a 10-liter batch, and I'm in the US and we use gallons, and it's hard for me to figure out how much I need. So I have done the ChatGPT math with a standard 5-inch nursery pot. So I'll give you the recipe, and I'll tell you both with a standard 5-inch pot and in liters. Now there's 5 ingredients, and the 5 ingredients are Orchiata bark. I buy this in a 35-liter bag. Cocoa husk chips. Tree fern fiber. This actually has a little bit of perlite mixed in, but I'm almost out, so we'll work with what we have. Perlite number 3 coarse. and sphagnum moss. Now the ingredients for those are 4 liters or 3.5 scoops of orchid bark, 3 liters or 2.5 scoops of the coco coir chips, 1.5 liters or about 1.25 scoops of the perlite, 1 liter or slightly less, we'll fill it up to about here, of the tree fern fiber, and 1/2 liter or 1/2 scoop of the moss. So let's go ahead and go. We're gonna just not quite fill it up all the way full, just dump it in here. And the last one about half full. So there's 3.5. Now the next one is cocoa chips, and I have just enough, and I mean just enough. So there's 1, 2, and roughly 1/2. And as you can see, I had next to none left. Now, 1.25 scoops of perlite. And if you're over a little, I mean, no one's going to kill you. And then the last thing is about 1/2 scoop of moss. And I like to kind of break this up. Just break it up with my fingers. That way it goes further. Normally I use a scissors, but we don't have any out here. I forgot to bring some out here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix this with a big spoon. This is all kind of a dry mix, so it should mix pretty well. Oop, I had a little accident. And as I'm mixing, let me go ahead and give you a view of the mixing. As you can see, the moss is kind of big in there, so it doesn't get really dispersed. I do like to chop it up a little smaller. So I may add a little bit more moss just to get more moss dispersed in there. And that's the beauty of making your own mix, is if something is not quite right, you can alter it. Okay, looks like we're pretty thoroughly mixed, and it looks like that mix made about 1/2 of this container. So like I said, let's see what this looks like in the pot. As you can see in the pot, it all stays very aerated. I push on it, and it doesn't collapse downward. It maintains the air spaces as I push down. It doesn't matter how compact this, you try to get this, you still see air pockets, in the mix. So there we are. There's our mix. We'll put a lid on it. I did forget one ingredient though. I did forget the tree fern fiber. I don't know how I forgot that, considering I only have 4 bags on my potting bench. So it's almost 1 full scoop of tree fern fiber. So let's go ahead and mix this in. And now let's mix this in for a fully complete mix. Now the tree fern fiber is kind of the substance that holds all of this together. This is kind of the binder. So you're not going to see a big difference after I put the tree fern fiber in. But when you go to water, you're going to find a large difference. Okay, so there is the mix. That's what it looks like, and as you can see, you can see the tree fern fiber in there now. Okay, everything's all mixed up, so now we can go in the house and finish up the video. Now let's go ahead and go back inside and finish talking about this mix and finish up the video. Let's go back inside. Okay, now that we're back in my living room, you can really see the difference that this mix makes. It's chunky, it's airy, and it's gonna stay that way for years without breaking down. Again, I know the initial investment of $216 feels like a lot, but when you realize you're saving more than $360 over the life of these bags, the math might get a little easier for you. You're giving your plants premium care on a DIY budget. I hope this deep dive breakdown gave you the confidence to stop overpaying for pre-made bags and start customizing a mix for your own environment. If you found the scoop guide or the cost analysis helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps my channel grow. And if you're planning on making your first bags this weekend, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear which Hoya is getting the first repot. Don't forget to subscribe for the rest of my Hoya deep dives and grab that free recipe cheat sheet I linked down in the description so you have it right there on your potting bench. Thanks so much for joining with me today and for watching until the end. I know that there are a lot of things that you can do with your time, and I appreciate you spending it with me today. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye. Please,